So President Trump is currently pushing for a border wall with Mexico. Now, he says that wall will be able to stop drugs and crime and, MS-13, illegal immigrants. And so he's been pushing very aggressively on that wall. In fact, we are now in the middle of a government shutdown over that wall. However, according to newly released footage back in 2004, the now president, but back then, of course, business owner, hotel magnate, whatever you want to call him, had a little bit of a different view about walls. Let's take a look.
Never, ever give up. Don't give up. Don't allow it to happen. If there's a concrete wall in front of you, go through it, go over it, go around it, but get to the other side of that wall.
Get to the other side of that wall, man. It doesn't matter. Got to go through it, go around it. Got to get to that. Got to get through that wall. I got to give a big shout out to The Daily Show for digging that nice little gem up. So congratulations, guys. Well done on that. So now, what'd be funny is that somewhere in Mexico, a man is probably showing this video to a group of migrants. Don't give up. Whatever you do, just got to go around that wall or go through it or go over it. Get over that wall. Here's a ladder. That's great. Again, ironic. Now, maybe, look, I know this is metaphorical, but maybe, look, even back in 2004, Donald Trump understood that there are some easier ways to, or some easy ways to defeat a wall. Sure, it's an obstacle, but again, you can get over it, right? But even though it was meant metaphorically, it could also be taken in a literal sense, because especially now that we're having conversations on building a literal wall on the southern border. And look, let's be honest about this, right? We know that this wall is not about border security. We know it's a monument to Donald Trump and also a monument to racism and xenophobia. And Trump himself, look, what he wants to do is build a vanity wall for his own ego. And his followers are, look, pretty much the only ones dumb enough to believe that this will actually work. And that is about a quarter of the country saying, oh yeah, no, building a wall, it'll work perfect. But wait, you can go over it by flying in. 58% of all undocumented immigrants basically just overstayed their visas. That's how they got here. They flew in. What are we going to do? Build a roof? I don't know. That might be something that they need to look into. And then, of course, look, most people that are, coming to the border are not going to be stopped by a wall. These are people that are coming in to legally request asylum at our borders. And so they will come to a legal point of entry and request asylum. That's a majority of what's going on here. And then, of course, when it comes to the seasonal farm workers, which, let's be honest, America needs those seasonal farm workers because, look, they come over and they work, because most Americans will not work in those fields doing that job because it's very difficult. I know I picked strawberries. That was a very, very difficult job. And so if you've done that before, which I think most of the people that are complaining about immigrants coming and doing those jobs anyway have not do, spend a couple of days picking those vegetables. Again, the farmers need you, because right now we've got, every time there's an immigration crackdown, you will literally have vegetables that are rotting in the fields. Go and do that job. Or else stop complaining about undocumented immigrants. But what I was going to go there with that is, you build a wall, that's going to make it harder for those, as soon as the season's over, for those undocumented immigrants to go back home. So what have you done? You just actually kept them here instead of allowing them to go back over the border. Fascinating, right? They don't seem to understand the effects of building this wall would actually do. But again, it's not going to work anyway. You can tunnel under it. I actually had somebody make the argument to me, and this is great. Well, you can't tunnel under it because you have to own the land on both sides in order to tunnel under it. So wait a minute, you're making an argument here that you have to purchase both sides of the land if you want to tunnel under it. And that's what migrants, or in your case, if you're a right-winger, this is what you're thinking, that MS-13 is going to purchase both sides of the land so that they can construct a tunnel under it. That's madness. That's probably the dumbest argument I've ever heard. You don't think that they would just, if they're going to tunnel under it, they're just going to be like, oh, no, Miguel, can't do that. We haven't bought the land yet. We got to buy the land first before we break immigration law. Oh, come on. Come on. Who thinks that? That is the worst argument I've ever heard. But again, you can fly over it too. In addition to tunneling under it, you can go around it in a boat. If you really want to America, well then, you think a wall's going to stop you? No, it's not going to stop you. Come on. Now, look, here's what's funny, right? So to go along with this story, there is another story that just came out about Trump's prototypes for his wall. So now they've been building some concrete prototypes and also some steel slats. Now, Trump has basically wavered. He's like, oh, first it's going to be a big, beautiful concrete wall. Okay, now it's going to be steel slats, right? Well, NBC News, according to the Department of Homeland Security, right? So ABC News got this exclusive report from DHS. And what this report was is that DHS was doing some field tests of the steel slats, right? Of how effective they would be at stopping people from getting into the country, right? So according to this test, these steel slats would be ineffective against someone with a power saw. Like a battery-operated power saw could cut right through it. I want to show you this photo here because this is what would happen if somebody took a power tool to Trump's beautiful prototype wall. Yeah. That power saw apparently cut through those steel slats like butter. Right through it. What happened? What happened to people not getting through the wall? I know. The argument is, well, but you're going to have Border Patrol there. Okay, so this is a very large border that we have with Mexico. In order to get enough people, border agents, to respond to anybody who decides to cut through the wall with a power tool, with a very cheaply available power tool, is going to be, the cost of that is going to be astronomical. So not only, again, would you have to spend anywhere from 20 to 60 or 20 to 70 billion dollars on building the wall, you would also have to pay billions upon billions of dollars to have enough border agents patrolling that wall and enough surveillance on that wall to prevent one dude with like a $25 power saw to break your wall and go into the country. Billions of dollars on a wall, billions of dollars on border security is defeated by a dude with a power saw. Congratulations on what would be the biggest boondoggle ever. Wow. That is far, far from the impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful wall on the border. This is an actual quote that would be paid for by Mexico. Yeah. So, and on that, by the way, it's not going to be paid by Mexico. It's going to be paid by the taxpayer. In fact, there are administration officials that actually admitted, yeah, we're actually going to pay for that. Trump himself said, well, that's not like Mexico is going to write us a check. No, they're not going to pay for the wall. We're going to pay for the wall. You're going to pay for the wall. And a wall that can be easily breached or bypassed destroyed by someone with either a battery-operated saw or climbed over it with a freaking ladder. Congratulations. Not to mention all the other stuff, right, that's involved with this wall. Literally stealing people's lands on the border. This is private property. I thought you didn't believe in stealing private property. I thought you were capitalist. I thought you lived like capitalists every single day. Oh, now when it comes to the wall, because we're in favor of stealing your land in order to build a wall that most of the country, over 70% of the country, doesn't even want. Congratulations on that. But hey, at least these guys, these enterprising people from down south, from Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, etc., at least someone will be taking Donald Trump's advice on walls. I guess that's a win. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.